Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching another video. Tonight we're going to be checking out Wicked Edge's newest and least expensive knife sharpener. This is the Carbon WE40. And as always, guys, if at the ending of the video you want to purchase this awesome knife sharpener from Wicked Sharp and help support the channel, make sure you check out the links in the description below because we do get a commission if you use the Amazon link when it becomes available, or if you want to buy directly from Wicked Edge, we got a great discount link set up for you. And of course, before getting started, just want to thank the good folks out at Wicked Edge for sending me the sharpener to review. Let's get started. Guys, I've seen Wicked Edge sharpeners around for years, especially at SHOT Show, and I've always wondered how this whole operation works, because when you see them kind of going at it like this and sharpening both sides of the blade at the same time, you wonder, well, how are these attached to the base? How do you set the angle? How do you clamp the blade in to get repeatable results? And that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to go from the base all the way up to sharpening the practice knife that they've included with the sharpener. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do I need a Wicked Edge knife sharpening system? Well, enter in your ordinary standard whetstone. And we've seen people sharpen knives on these all over the place. And some people will go back and forth like this. Some people will draw across this way. Some people even have power grinders to speed up the knife sharpening process. Now, freehand sharpening on a whetstone like this is cool, and for sure using power grinders is cool. But if you're the one hanging on to the knife, the one thing that you must do every single time on every single pass is to make sure that you are keeping the blade at a consistent angle every single time. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and dulling your edge. And that is what the Wicked Edge knife sharpening system does, is it gives you a mechanism to take the guesswork out. It locks down the blade so that's not moving around, and it gives you a way to pass over the edge every single time with the same angle so you can get a nice sharp edge without all the stress and anxiety. Just a quick explanation to how the Wicked Edge system works. Your knife is going to get clamped into these jaws right here. The edge will be facing up this way. You'll set your angle to what you want it to sharpen at using these slides right here. And once you have that set, you'll glide these arms over the edge to sharpen your blade. Let's have a closer look at the components. Let's start off by having a closer look at the base. Let's get you guys a size reference here. So here is a 12-inch ruler. So it's a lot shorter than that. If you go from edge to edge, looks like you got just about 9¼ inches overall length, pretty compact in size. And this is where a majority of the savings is going to come from, because the higher models, the more expensive ones, are made out of aluminum. What we have here is glass-filled nylon, very common in pocket knives. It basically starts off as a liquid, they inject it into molding, and it takes the shape of whatever mold it's in. And this is going to give us way more durability than we need to sharpen knives. Very solid base. On each of the corners, you have mounting holes in case you want to hard mount it to your table. What I'm going to do is just use some vice clamps to hold down the edges, or you can use C-clamps. Zoomed in pretty close so we can have a look at these slides here. This is how you're going to set what angle you want to sharpen at. And if you look right here, right there's the number 15, and right here is 13. These are done in increments of 1. So you can go 13, 14, 15. You look all the way over here to 30. So you can get from 13 to 31 degrees of angle with these. Now, generally speaking, if you have a Japanese knife, it might be 15 degrees. European knives, maybe like 18 to 20. Your bushcrafting outdoor knives, probably a little bit wider at 25 degrees. But very easy to adjust this. You just unscrew the thumb screw and put it where you want. Zoomed in close to the right side of the sharpener, just to give you some orientation. This guy right here is your thumb screw to adjust the slide, but we want this screw right here. As you tighten that, it'll move this closer into that little cup right there, and you're going to insert your guide rod right in here, and this basically is going to pivot like the ball and socket joint of your shoulder. Here's what it looks like with the guide rods installed, and as you can see, it gives it the freedom to pivot around so you can sharpen your knife edge. Here is a look at your steel guide rod. Now, it doesn't come like this. You have to install the O-rings and the shield. You basically want to roll one down to right about here. The shield will rest down about here, and then you'll roll the other O-ring down to lock it into place. And the purpose of the shield is to stop the metal shavings from getting into that ball and socket joint that we just seen. Here's a close-up look at your jaws. This is where your knife is going to be sitting. These are made out of aluminum, so they're lightweight and durable. They're coated with type 2 anodizing, so it's about as durable as it can get. Try not to slam your knives into these. We got 2 tension screws here. You're just going to loosen these. Insert the knife with the edge up. lock it back down. Wicked Edge has improved on these steel jaws. Instead of having just one, you have two independent ones. You can see here that this one is more closed than the other one, increasing your clamping capability. And this is important because a lot of knives start off thick and taper down thin, so this increases your points of contact with knives with a heavy taper. To make sure that you got enough tension on the blade so it's not moving around while you're sharpening it, you can get your fingers right under here and lift carefully. If it doesn't come off, you got enough tension. So right about now, you guys might be asking yourselves, well, how do we know that this knife is at the right height? Maybe it's too high, maybe it's too low, and that's where these guys come into play. The only thing you got to remember to select the right blade stops is that at least 5/8 of an inch has to be sticking up out of the top of the jaws. So they give you this other gauge here, but if you put it right on the top, that'll get you pretty close to 5/8 of an inch. They have 3 of these blade stops included with the knife sharpener, and generally speaking, the taller the knife is, the smaller you want the blade stop so it sits lower on the screws here. And just like a baby chair, if you have a little baby blade, you want the bigger one so the knife sits higher so you can sharpen it at the right height. Once you've got the correct blade stop installed and locked into place, you're going to use this here as a straight edge to make sure that your knife isn't canted forward or backwards, so it should rest just like that. The last thing we got to figure out is how forward or back to put the knife in the vise. Now, Wicked Edge recommends finding where the belly of the knife is and putting it right on the edge of the vise facing away from you. Okay, this looks about right. I think the belly is right about there. Now, in order to remember where the position is in the vise, they've given you this alignment guide here. There's a little notch here that's going to snug right up against the vise here. So you're going to put it in only on the left side, not the right. And we can see here that it looks like it's about letter B. So now I know I'm using medium stop, depth B. I got repeatable results over and over again. Here we go, guys. On to the stars of the show, your diamond sharpening stones. Now, along with the base, this is where we're going to save a little bit of money because these are their standard sharpening stones. They're going to give you a 200-600 grit combo. And these will last about 300 cycles, while the premium ones are going to give you about 700 cycles. Diamond stones are one of the best materials you can use to sharpen your knives. It's going to enable you to sharpen really tough steel like D2, but there is a break-in period of about 20 sessions. Now, of course, during the break-in period, you don't want to use expensive knives, nice knives, or knives that are important to you. You really want to take your time getting used to the new system, the movements that it's going to take. Take your time wearing down the top layer because it's uneven in the very beginning. Now, you don't want to rub them together because you're going to damage the stones, but as you're working through it, that uneven layer is going to knock off and the sharpening is going to get a lot smoother. I like the weight and the size of these sharpening stones. They have finger grooves cut in here. So when you're grabbing onto them and sharpening, it's nice and comfortable. They basically just slide over the guide rod. So when you're done using one side, you just flip it to the other side and you can keep sharpening. So easy to use. All right, so here's pretty much the setup. We got the base locked down here with 2 vice clamps, guide rods installed. The knife is in the jaws at the proper height and distance. The only thing we got to figure out is where to put our angle guides at what degree. Here's a way to figure it out. So it kind of doesn't really matter if you think you know what degree your knife is currently sharpened at, because let's say you think this is 15 degrees. The 15 degrees you're going to be sharpening at is probably going to be different than what's on here already. So it's best to figure it out slowly in small increments. Now, to act as a guide, what we're going to do is take some permanent marker. I like using the ones with the chisel tip here. It's flat, and we're just going to stripe your edge on both sides. All right, here's what your blade is going to look like when it's striped up. We're going to pretend that this chopstick is one of your guide rods. So you want to start off at an angle that is way wider than you think your knife is sharpened at. And the reason you don't want to go too steep is you don't want those stones to scratch up your knife flat. So I'm going to start off at 20 degrees, and it's probably just going to remove the top portion of the marker. I'm just going to walk it in 1 degree at a time until I remove the entirety of the permanent marker. Then you know that's the right angle to sharpen at. All right, we are strapped in and ready to start sharpening. Now, for this demonstration, don't really pay attention to the grit of the stones because that's going to change on the condition of your edge. Like for me, I wouldn't use a 200-600 grit. My knives are normally in really good shape, so I might decide to touch them up with an 800 and finish with 1000, but just kind of pay attention to the process and the motion. All right, the first thing we want to do is create a burr. So we're going to start with the 200, pick it up here, and you want to make sure to get way back here on the stone. right? Put it right back here, and you don't need a lot of pressure, and you're just gonna go forward like that. 10 strokes, and you're gonna feel for a burr on the other side. Guys, check out how perfectly centered this knife is in these jaws. That's really gonna help us get consistent, repeatable results. Now, after you've confirmed a burr on both sides of your blade, we're ready to start sharpening. And it's really easy, just 20 total strokes alternating, and go as slow as you need to, right? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way until you hit 20. Then, of course, when you're done with the 200 grit stones, you're going to roll it around and start over with the 600. All right, let's check out the sharpness of this edge. Remember, we started off with the 200 grit and then we finished with the 600. We should have some nice clean slicing. Yeah, a little bit of toothiness. But that's what the 600 grit will get you, just a little bit of toothiness. If you want to smooth it out, you go with the 800 1000 grit stone. Let's see if we can get through some paracord. No problem. What about some cardboard? No problem. Once again, guys, this has been the Carvin WE40 from Wicked Edge. You get the same results as the more expensive versions for a lot less money. If you're looking to take the guesswork out of knife sharpening and the ease into it, this could be a great option for you. Well, alright guys, this is the ending of the video. Remember, if you want to purchase this awesome knife sharpener from Wicked Edge, make sure you check out the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.